John Cove, and I'm here again with Mr. Hands, Specialist Psychologist for Athlete Performance. Now, I thought we'd move on this time to an issue that's been come to me a number of times, is athletes sometimes have a fear of actually getting hurt themselves or in fact hurting someone else. Matt, is there some comments you'd like to?
That's definitely a good question, and it certainly is a real concern for a lot of first-time fighters, but even some more professional fighters as they develop more skills. That they realise their self-confidence is higher, the realisation that they are particularly good at what they do, and the fear that they may hurt the other competitor, or alternatively going in without the confidence that they may get hurt themselves. And we come back to the key of preparation, and I was speaking with a karate sensei a few weeks back about this one issue. How does he train his students, I suppose, to use self-defense techniques, which is along the same line. And his advice was quite simple. You have to have your mind made up voluntarily beforehand that you're actually able to hit someone or be able to defend yourself. You don't do it there on the spot. You don't get into the ring and think, okay, now I'm going to go and try and win this fight. I try and defend myself. If you're going there with that level of preparation, you probably will end up getting hurt. It is making the commitment. If you are deciding to up your level to go from, I suppose, a sport or weekday training to actually some sort of competitive fighting, the resolution has to be in mind that I am going to get into the ring, and it is sanctioned. There are referees there, so certainly you're not going to get belted around the ring. The fight will get stopped.
Now, that's one thing I can say, that we've cut some interviews with rehab specialist Dr. Saul Geffen, and he's made the point that there's been very few serious injuries in Muay Thai. The ones that have happened have been more in the nature of pop shoulders from falls, rather than cranial style injuries. So for the parents out there, please don't think we're engaged in a sport which has its end result potentially serious injury as a threat every time. Now I'll cut there just for a second because I forgot what I was going to say. There was one other thing. I'll start again. Now, the other issue is, you'll see from videos that we've done with Justin Gibbons, one of our leading referees. Our referees are very, very experienced in ensuring that an athlete doesn't take unnecessary punishment, both in the combat itself, but also then even to the extent of catching athletes should they be about to fall. There's nothing to stop a referee actually, and it's part of their role, is to actually catch athletes on the way down if at all possible. The fact of getting injured by falling isn't part of the sport. Now, Matt, is there anything else you'd like to talk us through in respect to this topic?
Yeah, I think just coming back to the preparation base, and it is important to understand the rules, and that's why we have referees in the ring that certainly govern and are there as a line of protection if the fighter is being particularly more injured and are able to stop the fight. Coming back to the parents, and if there are parents watching the vignettes, a lot of the media portrayal is certainly slanted to negatives of boxing, of kickboxing, of any form of competitive sport, to a point. Even rugby league gets its bad press on bad days. The Barry Hall incident of recent from AFL. They're generally isolated incidents, and I think that's an incredibly important part to hone in on. That the sport, okay, it is a sport where punching and kicking is involved, but it's not necessarily a violent sport. Boxing is regarded as a science and an art form, similar to...
I should say that for the people who haven't seen this video, who haven't had much to do with Muay Thai yet, our athletes and senior trainers, typically athletes who have come from other sports rather than sort of pubs from the street who then come across to the sport. So while we have that issue of image, it's largely not appropriate for the way the sport functions, particularly given the amount of contact in the sport is directed away from the head. Kicking, kneeing, all those aspects of the sport are largely directed at the body, at the torso and at the legs. Thanks, mate. We'll meet again very soon.
Absolutely.